Welcome back to the War Corgi YouTube channel, where we're taking the time to celebrate the release of Labyrinth. That's the newest expansion for BLKOUT, the 32mm skirmish game we play a lot of on this channel. So Enemy Spot Studios has been kind enough to send me the two new forces. We're going to do an overview of those forces, but first I also want to take a look back at the 16 previous battle reports that we've published and go over some of the rules that we got wrong. Perhaps you got these rules wrong too, or are still getting them wrong. Anyways, I thought it'd be a useful discussion. Right after we go over those 9 rules that we've gotten wrong, we'll go ahead and take a look at the new forces that are coming out with Labyrinth.
Weapons with the medium keyword only re-roll 1 failed shot when used as a shooting action.
So for a long time, we were letting Manticore Boar's group re-roll misses with their weapons with the medium keyword, even in reaction fire. And this seemed really overpowered. As it turns out, Manticore only gets to reroll misses, and that's 1 miss, not multiple misses, with that medium weapon keyword when they're taking a shooting action. That is, when it's their turn to activate that unit. Reaction fire does not get the reroll that medium provides otherwise.
The Manticore Boar's group force rule allows models to ignore the first point of damage suffered from a blast weapon.
So this is another rule that we're getting wrong for Manticore Boar's boys. When forces would fire a blast weapon at them, we were ignoring the first success and making Manticore roll armor saves for the remaining ones, when in actuality, what they do is they roll their armor saves and ignore the first fail or the first point of damage that goes through, making them extremely resilient against blast. Anyone who plays Manticore knows this.
Manticore's Bratva team only receive the +1 die to initiative rolls if they have at least 2 models remaining in their unit.
Turns out the Manticore Bratva team's card that we were using was a bit outdated. Now you need at least 2 members of Bratva team to be alive and on the table in order to get the advantage of that +1 die for initiative rolls, not just any model. So a little nerf for Manticore on that one. That's okay.
Harlow's Springbok AI's chaff discharge ability causes a model attempting Overwatch reactions on them to take an engaged token.
As a Harlow player, I always liked the Springbok AI's ability to use their chaff discharge rule in order to negate an opponent taking an Overwatch fire against them. It was very useful. It's even more useful than I thought, because when that opponent attempts that Overwatch, the model attempting Overwatch gains an engaged token, so they don't get to shoot and they don't get to act farther or engage somebody else later on. It's a really powerful ability, and think twice before you're shooting at those Springbok AI, because you might just not be able to take a shot and gain an engaged token.
The team leader ability allows the model to gain a ready token and give it to another model in the same unit.
So early on, we were using engaged tokens to mark units once they got done with their activation. It's completely wrong. Models gain engaged tokens when they're shooting at Springbok AI in Overwatch, or anybody in Overwatch. And that's mostly about it. So when a team leader can take his ready token and give it to another model in his unit, it will allow them to move and shoot, not gain an engaged token and then gain a ready token. Very powerful. What it doesn't do is cancel the effects of an engaged token that they already have. So if a model overwatches and then the team leader gives them that ready token, that engaged token essentially overrides it. So when you're using this powerful ability of the team leader, you want to make sure you're giving it to a model that does not have an engaged token and you're playing engaged tokens correctly.
Unpinning friendly units with a data spike is a data attack and can be countered by E-War.
It might be a little counterintuitive, but when you use your data spike in order to unpin a friendly unit, that's still considered a data attack. So if you're playing the match play rules, your opponent does have a chance to make an E-War roll in order to counter your action. So even though your action is directed at a friendly unit, your opponent can still stop it.
Vehicles only explode when they take fatal damage from a weapon with the blast keyword.
Vehicles are a really cool feature in BLKOUT, and there's some really nice models that you can get from Enemy Spy Studios. We use some house rules for some armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles here on the channel. And when you're using vehicles, especially those that transport models, it's important to note that they only explode when they're hit with fatal damage from a blast weapon. It can be a damage 2 weapon, but if it doesn't have the blast rule, it just destroys the vehicle and the models can get out safely. It could be a damage 1 weapon with the blast rule, and if that does the fatal damage, all the models inside are dead. It's important to remember that rule. It could be the difference between life and death for the squad riding inside that vehicle.
Models can move half their movement characteristic after juking.
This is a rule that we're likely to forget on the channel because when you're in the middle of the action, you're focused on juke, reducing the opponent's die roll by 1 in match play. But it has the added bonus of allowing you to move that model half that model's movement distance after the attack roll's been made. And that can be really useful to get that model behind cover or get it closer to the objective. So try to remember that one, and we will as well.
Models with the drone keyword do not participate in CQB.
And the last one has to do with drones. So the rules are that drones cannot engage in close quarters combat. That is at the end of the turn when 2 models are duking out to see who lives and dies. I took that to mean that they could be punched, they just won't punch back. That's not the case. Actually, nothing happens if you have a model in its movement in contact with that drone at the end of the turn. Both of them just go on living their lives as if nothing's going on, because the model can't hurt the drone and the drone's not equipped to do anything back to the model. All right, so that's all 9 rules that we've been missing or missed at some point during the past 16 battle reports. Now let's get to what you're really here for, and that is to look at the 2 new forces coming out with Labyrinth. The first force we're going to look at are the Impisi Insurgents. This is a native resistance force on Abol, fiercely resistant to UN and authority rule on the planet. Now there are 3 units that will come with this force, a 1-man unit and 2 4-man units. All of these units have the low-tech special rule, meaning that they cannot be affected by electronic warfare attacks or pinning. First up, we have the Scrap King. Now he has a combat load of 1, skill of 6, movement 4, and a 2/5 armor save, making him pretty resilient. If that wasn't enough, he has a damage track of 2 equal to a Suka. He carries an autocannon, which is a 4 to 32 inch gun doing 2 damage, has the medium special rule and AP2, making it really versatile against infantry, vehicles, and dusters. And if somebody gets up close, he can kick them. Next up is my favorite unit, and that's the Veterans. They have a combat load of 2, skill 6, movement 6, and an armor save of 1/7. So they're a little faster than most and can't take damage as well as any others. They carry looted weapons, which are 24 inches and 1 damage. There are 3 grunts in this unit and 1 specialist. That specialist is carrying a machine gun. That is a light machine gun to be specific. They have a special rule that says after this unit's activation ends, all models in the unit may move up to 2 inches, but that movement may not trigger CQB. So you can see all kinds of scenarios where that could be useful. Jumping out, taking the shot, and then jumping back behind, line of sight blocking terrain. The most interesting unit of the 3 are the Insurgents. They have a combat load of 2, a skill of 7, movement 4, and a armor save of 1/8. They also carry the looted weapons. So obviously not a great stat line. Matter of fact, it's darn right terrible. There are 3 grunts and 1 specialist in this unit, and the specialist is a grenadier with a grenade launcher. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of force rules and armories we get with these Insurgents to make them a viable unit, because according to the write-up on the webpage, they are supposed to be one of the best units coming out in this release. The other force coming out in Labyrinth is a bit more conventional. They're a criminal syndicate, and it also has 3 unit cards along with it. It's going to be 1 unit with 1 model, and then 2 units with 3 models, so not feeling as many bodies as we saw with the Impisi Insurgents, but they're going to have some combat advantages all their own. First unit we're looking at for the Black Pact is the Pact Boss. He has a combat load of 1, skill 6, movement of 4, and a 2/5 armor save. That's equivalent to what we saw with the Scrap King. He also has a 2 damage track. Now this model is armed with a compact light machine gun with a 24-inch range, 1 damage, cyclic, and CQB, and can punch people who get up close. He also has a special rule that says after he activates, he may activate 1 additional unit without spending a control point, which is pretty powerful. Next, we have the security team, which is a 3-person unit. Well, actually 2 people and 1 doggo, robotic. They have a combat load of 1, skill 6, movement 4, an armor save of 1/6. And that's just 1 grunt and 2 specialists in this unit. They're armed with carbines, which are 18 inches, 1 damage CQB. Now, the first specialist is a marksman. He has a designated marksman rifle, which is a 32-inch gun, heavy AP2. He is your sniper for the force. And then you have the doggo, the specialist ground drone. It has the drone and AI keywords, and if it has a ready token, it can make any number of reactions without removing it or gaining engaged tokens. That's useful because he has a compact LMG, which of course has the cyclic rule. So you can move him into position, take a shot. Second part of that, cyclic, take your ready token, and then he can react to anything he sees moving around the battlefield. Now he does have a 3/6 save, so he's not invulnerable, and he's going to be a prime target for your enemies as he's sitting out there trying to take them down. Last up, we have the liquidation team. It has a combat load of 2, a skill of 6, a movement of 6, making these the fast boys, and a save of 1/6. There are 2 grunts in this unit and 1 specialist. They're also armed with carbines. In addition to those carbines, they have machetes for some CQB fun. That 1 specialist is a fire team leader. He's going to have the special role which allows him to give a ready token to a model in the unit that has already made an action at the expense of gaining that ready token for himself. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Also, go check out the deals on Enemy Spot Studios' BLKOUT web store. They got some great deals going for the release of Labyrinth, and these forces, they're going to be forces to be reckoned with. So you're going to want to definitely pick those up while you're there. All right, you guys have a good one, and we'll catch you next time for a battle report. Promise.